as you and me. So. Okay. As it said on the screen, as you and me. So, all right, we are here. Um, Took a little bit of time. Russell ran about an hour long and took us a little bit to get things set up, but we are here for the Monday AI Secrets Challenge Day 1 implementation call. Can everybody see me, hear me, all that kind of stuff? Anybody who is watching this in my group or on profile or YouTube or Madison's, whatever, there should be a link. Well, not on YouTube, but in the Facebook group and on the profile, there should be a link if you guys want to jump on the call, talk about anything. But that's what we're going to do here. This isn't about training you guys or anything, because Russell and Todd already did that. It's about what are our impressions? What do we think? What are our takeaways? What are we going to do moving forward? Mini PC, whoever that is, just jumped in. You can rename yourself Mini PC if you want to, so we know who you are for reals. But
come on.
Lorene, are you having troubles with your computer again?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're not muted.
You can. I can't. I'm trying to open the Zoom and it's not working.
Okay.
But you can hear me.
But you can't see us, because we can see you just fine. So you're clearly on Zoom if we can see you.
I think I got more than one open.
Can you see me?
No, I've got a whole bunch of Zoom screen stuff. Log in with Facebook.
You just probably did you hide your the window for the Zoom behind everything else?
I'm gonna try to close everything.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you mute yourself, or Madison, can you mute Lorene?
Yeah, go ahead and mute me.
Let me open up the participants here. All right, people, we are getting going here. Don't worry. We'll get there eventually. All right. Has anybody got any opening questions, comments, any significant takeaways that they have? What do you think? Have you gotten into the software yet? And can you? What do you think of the software so far? I haven't. We're going to definitely look at it and bounce around in there and click on a whole bunch of stuff, but I haven't obviously had a chance to put anything in there yet. Madison, did you do anything prior to the call? Because you had some sort of access to it. I don't think that's connected yet. From something that that Todd said right at the end, and the fact that I did look around in there, I did not see anywhere that you can right now today connect it to your Claude account or anything else. So you did? Do you want to just share your screen and then I won't bother sharing mine because you got the controls there? So in the VIP call, they went through a lot of the same stuff that everybody goes through, which is there's 3 levels of AI. You start using it as a search engine, which basically when it came out, for the most part, what was publicly available to all of us, you couldn't use it for much more than a search engine. And then he said the next level is you treat it as an employee. You give it some context and you get outputs from it. And then now they're going to the point where it's the chief of staff, and where it will learn from you, has compounding memory, and it can work autonomously. So it's doing tasks for you behind the scene. So it basically has become for what they built into here, in many ways, it's an agent for you. Now, again, we got to see as we get into and start working on it, how that is, how that's going to actually play itself out. How autonomous can this be? What kind of tests can this be? But considering the fact that you can connect it to your Gmail account and your Google emails and all kinds of other stuff, I have a feeling that we can pretty much treat this thing like an agent, and it's just going to keep growing over time. And so we'll see. Hopefully, it's all working just fine. But it's just going to continue to grow. And I just have this feeling that when I first saw it today, when they first flipped it on, I was just like, okay, this thing is a lot further along than I expected it to be. That was my first gut feeling. It can do a lot more than I would have thought it could do, and they've already got so much Russell stuff already loaded up into there, including he said all of his courses and stuff. Let me just go look over here. I have to look, where was that software? Oh, here we go. Training and courses. So it's got 13 books, video courses, 31 video courses. Let's see when I click on that. Yeah, they got everything in here, and the AI in here was trained on all of this. So my understanding is the whole idea is you come in, you put in your voice, you put in your attractive character information, you do all that kind of stuff, and then if you want, you can then use Russell's brain, essentially, all of Russell's training since forever, to then create your marketing for you. But you gotta load up your own voice, and that's what today's task was, your homework was, is to build your attractive character. So you want to go out and find all of the emails that you ever wrote and dump them in there and make a, I don't know what it's called in here. I guess where yeah, here's the thing. It's, because we don't know how this works yet. We got to bounce around. Let me see here. Oh, and there's like 8 lessons in here on how to do the attractive character stuff too. So that's pretty cool. All right. Okay. No, no, no. We saw exactly what you were talking about. Okay, now StreamYard is showing technology. Um, okay, now we're seeing it on both. Yeah. Okay. Well, you don't actually use Manus. Oh, is Manus Chinese? Okay, so right now Madison is trying to connect her Manus account to Marketing Secrets. Now, my understanding is once you do that, is anything you've done in, let's say, Claude is where I mostly work. Everything you've done in Claude, you can pull into here, or they can see each other or something. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out yet, because even in Claude, and ChatGPT is the same way, is that, every single conversation is, essentially siloed, and they can't, you not be able to see through the walls. Now, I think with ChatGPT now they've loosened that up some. But so is this going to then have the ability to be able to see everything in my Claude account, or how's it going to work? And I think we're just going to have to play around and experiment with it. So Mark put in the comments that China's banned Meta's acquisition of Manus on national security grounds. China's concerned about us stealing their intellectual property, apparently. So yeah, right. That's funny. So all right. So Madison, we're looking at you. We're not looking at your screen. Or what are you trying to do? Are you trying to go into Manus? Because you're trying to connect it to Manus. All right. Well then, let me. Okay. I can share my screen while you're trying to get that set up. Okay, let me find that screen now. Okay, let me share. That's not it. Can everybody see my screen now? Okay. All right. So I don't know if everyone is on here, anybody who's watching, if you actually had if you had a chance to get in here and get it turned on, set up, everything else. Anybody who's on with us, did you get in? Did you get logged in? If you didn't get logged in, send a message to support at what was it, marketingsecrets.com, and they'll get you hooked up. I think one of the biggest problems people are probably finding is that they went and they opted in with one email address and are probably trying to sign up with a different email address. So that could possibly be what the issue is too. So there's oh, that's oh, I don't think I saw that when I went there. Um, okay. So when I logged in just a little bit ago, it asked you a couple of questions, one of which was like basically tell us about your business in one sentence. That was it. Then it got to like the next screen, which is your typical chat GPT looking kind of screen. And it has some information on there. It was basically, it was a list of things I still had to fill out, like the attractive character and all that kind of stuff. So that's really where you want to start when you get in here. And again, Madison and I have had access to this for less than an hour. So we don't know much more than what you guys know. But you can come in here if you click on sprints. The first one that they want you to try to get done as much as you can before tomorrow is right here. And you click on that. And so they got a bunch of training here. So I think this is more training on what is okay, demo, identity, voice, and stories. All right, so these two here are probably the demo ones. That's probably about how to get this set up. And the bonus is probably just Russell's training. Who knows? Could be old stuff from Funnel Hacking Live or something like that, even. So lots of training there. Oh, you even have a Mark lesson is complete right there. And then let's see, software. It's in here. So this is our brain, our attractive character. Let's click on that. And then so here you can start creating your character. And one of the things that Russell made very clear that what he's doing is breaking that up as into the different voices that he has for different projects. So all of his emails are one voice inside of here. All of his courses are another voice. His podcasts a third. His books a fourth. And so and the biggest objection I saw in the feed all day long was basically how how do I do this when I've never recorded anything in my life or ever sent out an email? Well, guess what? It's time you start doing those things and creating that content. But the way to really start is, as Russell said, grab some sort of recording device, including your computer here, and just start talking. Because another thing you could do in here is just open up the chat that's in here. We haven't looked at that yet. Just open up the chat in here and just start telling AI about yourself. And when it gets done, then say, okay, this is everything you need to know about me. Spit this out in a form that I can then take and put into my character, so you start to know who I am, or put this into the stories part of this system so you know who I am. Will it do it automatically? I don't know. It might. Again, none of us really know what this thing does until we have a chance to play with it. And tomorrow, we should know quite a bit more about what this thing is capable of doing. But let's go here to Brain. Because where did you find that thing you were looking for, Madison? Under. Oh, okay. All right. So we got memory log. We have feed it. Feed your brain. Paste text, upload or file or talk it out. Okay, right there it says talk it out. Chat turns into a searchable facts. Okay. So we got paste, we got upload, we got chat, open a chat. Okay. So that's exactly what I was talking about there. If you got nothing, or if you just got some stories you want to tell it, you go, hey, here's a story that is important to me, blah, 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 blah. Here's something else that is important. I believe in this XYZ kind of stuff. And here are three authors that really I follow that also believe this kind of stuff. And you can put that all in there and just ask it, do you know this author? Do you know this book that this author wrote? Because that's what I base a lot of my trainings on. And so they can go out and find that then and pull it in and note it in the file then. So let's say you're a big fan of Gary Halbert. Well, let's use Dan Kennedy. So you're a big fan of Dan Kennedy. So I like to speak in the voice of Dan Kennedy. I believe in Kennedy's what am I thinking here? Diagnose and then prescribe methods, blah, blah, blah. You tell it all that, and it will know Dan Kennedy. Now, if it doesn't know Dan Kennedy, then you can always feed it some Dan Kennedy content, and then it will know Dan Kennedy. But I would suspect that, like anytime you program any AI like this, is you got the core LLM. So I don't know which one they're running on. It's probably Claude though. So you got your core LLM, and then you add in content on top of it. So the core LLM is going to know everything about Dan Kennedy, but if need be, you can add in supplemental information on top of it to make it like if there's a particular book that Kennedy wrote, you may want to put that in there, especially if you wanted to take any kind of quotes out of that book, because in general it knows most of Kennedy's books, especially if you say, are you familiar with Kennedy's book that with Maxwell Maltz on psychocybernetics? It will say yes, but if you want exact quotes out of the book, it can't do that. So if you needed exact quotes out of psychocybernetics, you have to load the book, the PDF of the book in there, and you can find the PDF of the book online. I know because I did. So so there's so many different ways that you can feed this brain. Every email you ever wrote in your life for your business, feed that in here. Any books, PDFs, video transcripts, everything, feed that in here into the brain. And I mean, don't worry about, oh well, that one wasn't very good. It doesn't matter. It's trying to figure out how you speak so that it can replicate it. So excuse me. So here we go. Use everywhere. So okay, Claude Desktop, go to Claude AI, customize, fill in the connector details. Okay. All right. So this is exactly, it says you got Claude Desktop, but you could just do this from the app too. The desktop, or I guess that's probably what it means, is Claude Desktop app. Okay. All right. Well, that's simple enough. Okay, can we feed it our website and funnels? The only thing I would say with that is it all depends on what's on your funnel. I mean, if you have a funnel that is just simply an opt-in page with a headline and input button and that's it, you ain't going to be feeding too much. But if you get one of like Russell's long form sales letters, then you got a lot of content to give it. So that would be something good to give it. Can you just give it a URL, your funnel hub? But even at that, how much content is on that page? On if it's your main page, your ClickFunnels site homepage is also known as a funnel hub. But if you are, if it doesn't have a lot of content on, it's not going to do anything. Can you give it a URL and say, follow every single link here and go out and scrape every single page it goes to? I don't know if it has that capability, but that's a good thing to ask it. If I give you a site, let's say if I give you a blog page, can you follow every single link and scrape every single article and bring it back to me? It will probably say no. But I've been using Claude a lot over the last couple of weeks, and I've had conversations with it about, holy crap, you can do stuff you couldn't do 6 months ago. And it explained to me why that was, to the point where it still has limitations on its context window, but it has become so huge now, its context window, that I haven't bumped up against the limit. And I've been working on some of these chats that I've been going with it for 2 weeks. And it actually said to me that it would tell me when it was getting to the point that it was having trouble. And the context window essentially means every time you put in a prompt, it has to go through every single thing that was in that chat that you were currently working in. It has to reread every single thing I put in, every single thing it returned to me, every single, if I put in a bunch of documents, if it created a bunch of text or, text files or code or whatever for me, it goes and reads that entire thing again every single time. And so as you get deeper into it, it would used to get really, really slow. And to the point when I was working with ChatGPT more, it got to the point where it got so slow, I had to say, okay, dump everything we know from this conversation, this chat, so I can start a new one. So it gives me a summary of it, copy that, paste it into the new one, so you start all over again. I have not even come close to running into that with Claude anymore. And also, I found over the weekend, I was working on some problems with DNS and connecting with SendGrid and stuff. And I found that I could just take screenshots and drop it in there, and it could read those screenshots like I had typed it in myself. And again, 6 months ago, I don't think it could do that. Hmm. Okay, so John says, can I feed it my resume or LinkedIn page? You can definitely feed it your resume because you're going to feed that in as some sort of a document. You're better off. Well, again, 6 months ago, you were better off feeding it a text file, a plain text file, not even a what's the other one? It starts with RTF real. No, raw. No, it's more fancy. So either way, can you now today give it a PDF and it'll be just fine? My understanding is without a doubt, yes. Especially if your PDF is mostly text. If it's a lot of images on there, it's going to have trouble with it, or if the whole thing is in an image format. But if it's a PDF with mostly text, it'll read the text. As far as LinkedIn, again, the question becomes is if you give it a link, can it go there? 6 months ago, I know it couldn't have. Now, maybe I just have not tested this, so I don't know. And this isn't replacing Canva, just AI like ChatGPT or Grok. No, this isn't going to replace Canva because so here's a perfect example. So the OpenAI came out with their Image 2 last week. So over the weekend, I was generating some images, and if you haven't used it yet, it'll just blow you away. I mean, it is so far ahead of anything else. Uh, you what? Well, what is it not good at? Hmm. Yeah. Did you fed it the image and it didn't work? Really? Because I fed it some image. Huh. Yeah, because for me, yeah, for me, Image 2 was blowing away anything I made from Nano Banana the last couple weeks. Uh, but what I was gonna say, about Lorene's question here and about Canva is it gave me essentially 2 of them were the same, but, it always because with any of this AI, it's trained to give you a different answer every single time. It's trained to be random and go use other sources each time, even with the images. That now going from one to the next has gotten a lot better, but I like the text in one a lot better than the text in the other. So I just took both of them, dropped them into Canva into a single, whatever frame, whatever you call it there, both of them side by each. And I went in and I did a magic grab on both of them, pulled out the one I didn't want, took the one that I did want, moved it over to the other side, put it in where I wanted, deleted the first image, boom, I was done. So that's where I find Canva to be great. I haven't really used the AI in there. The layers feature in there is cool too. But what I found with the layers does a great job of ripping the layers apart, but it normally changes your text. It'll change the font of the text and all that. And if you use the grab text feature in there, it will normally change the font of it, even though it's gotten better at that. So what I've found is just use the magic grab and it'll grab it exactly as it is. And then you just swap it. And so that's I've been using it like that for the last year. Create 2 or 3 versions of an image in whatever your favorite one is. Now, my understanding is this supposed to now be making images for us because Todd said that it is running Image 2 right here inside of marketing.ai. Again, haven't tested it yet. But yeah, create yourself 2, 3 versions of your image, drop them all into Canva, pull out the pieces you like, paste it together, and I mean that's how I do it. And it's a lot easier than trying to create it yourself. Video creation is also cool in Canva. Yeah, I haven't done that at all. Yeah, there's so many things that Canva can do, and but it's a billion-dollar company now. I forgot one day I saw like the ranking of where these are, and yeah, it was multi-billion-dollar company started by some gal who I don't know if she's 30 years old yet, just raking in dough. So she should just like sell out and you know go live somewhere the rest of her life and be happy. Go go be your best self. But all right, what else we got in here? So you're saying with Manus it can do what again? Okay. Well, I will tell you this, being that I'm working on a project that involves video transcriptions, Claude cannot do any video transcriptions, including YouTube. It says it can do YouTube, but every time I've run it, it always says I can't. If I just give it the YouTube URL, it just says I can't pull it, and it can't pull it from anything else either. It can't pull it from Vista. What is it? Vista? No. What are they? DeepGram? Is that an AI or what is that? Oh, well, my trick is when I want a transcription is you can drop it into YouTube. So you got a video that you're not going to put onto YouTube, but you can just drop it into YouTube, pull the transcript off, and then delete it out of YouTube. Or even simpler is just take the video and drop it into Loom, and Loom will transcribe it for you, and then you just pull that out. So it takes, well, I'd have to like go get money, pay money for something like that. Really? All right. So what did you say this was called? Deep Gram? Yeah, okay. Deep Gram. How long does it take to do the transcription? Oh, okay. Uh yeah, with like Loom, you drop it in there 5, 10 minutes later, it's got it for you. So it's not any big deal there. So it looks like they can connect here with Cursor, ChatGPT, and then you did. Oh, that's right, you did the API other, and that's how you were doing it with Manus. Okay, all right. Well, you were using Cursor. Well, you were using Cursor the other day for something. Now, Cursor is one of those platforms where they conglomerate all the other platforms together, right? Okay, I thought that was one of those where you could choose between using Claude or ChatGPT. Okay, okay, well, that brings something up here because I gotta. How do I start your first task to get going? I don't know. Let me reload this. I had 2 tasks down here before, and where do you see new tasks? Oh, duh, okay. Big one up there. This makes me think, now that you said that, because you can choose your models here. Well, my question starts to be then talking about Cursor. Are they running Cursor in the background? Right. Well, yeah, but so that's what I'm thinking here is if you can just integrate Cursor into this thing, and so you're basically running over they built shell over Cursor. Good poss premium. Mhm. Okay. Okay. Um, so but you're seeing that as that's the function that, the Cursor is good for, is that what you're saying? Okay. We'll see. I'm, I don't know at this point. So what else we got in here? Training and courses. Okay, we already looked at that. Then the software, the brain, attractive character, one-to-many emails, one-to-many presentations. So let's just click on the emails here. So once you load up your voice, then apparently, oh, okay, so they got soap opera, Daily Seinfeld. I would guess over time we're going to get more of these in here. Product launch sequence. So, I mean, in many ways, well, and we're still going to be getting that in the FBC, but yeah, I think there's a lot of crossover. So I think we're going to get access to what created, or we're going to get access in the FBC to what essentially is the brain inside of here. Yeah, but without all the other functionality. Yeah, yeah, yeah. $97 a month. We'll see. If you can get rid of, so let's say I can get rid of Claude and I can get rid of ChatGPT. Well, right there, that's $50. So 97 is pretty easy to justify if you could pretty much get rid of everything else or go to a free plan on those other things. Now, if you want to keep running the MCP server for ClickFunnels, then you have to still keep the pro plan, I'm pretty sure, on Claude in order to run the MCP. Mhm. Well, if you're working in somebody else's account, the limitation for the MCP server for ClickFunnels is that you can only have one connection. As of right now, I know I've seen that they are working on making multiple connections. So it could be actually a limitation of Claude that you can only have one. And in fact, I think it is now I think about it. But if you're in somebody else's account, then yeah, if you can create it in here, put it in, you may be able to run your client's emails out of here. Um, you might be able to run a lot of your clients' stuff out of here. That's all needs to be seen. But again, remember it's a usage issue. So
But
they
their voice is different.
well, but you can have
So,
different voices in here.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so there are, let's see again, let me see here. Where did I see that? So you got my workspace, and then you can create a workspace. So what does that entail at this point yet? We haven't seen the different workspaces here. And then you also have different projects down here. So can you have two, three, four, five workspaces? Who knows? And then inside each one of those workspaces have different projects. So there's, seems like there's multi layers here. So we'll find out over the next week what can be done there. But another thing here under my chief of staff, I didn't want that. No, here we go. Personal. We come down here and you can see integrations. And so this is where I was looking initially for how do I connect this thing to Claude? Well, that wasn't for what this was for, but you can see in here all of the things you can already connect to. So you can connect this brain here to your ClickUp account and be dealing with all your different projects and everything inside of ClickUp or Discord or whatever. And there's 6 pages apparently of this. So you are essentially, you got your brain here working with what I'll call, for the sake of brevity, shall we say, you're working with all these different agents and pulling them all into this brain and being able to access their information. So, and there's, like I said, 6 pages worth. You can even connect it to your Stripe account. And I did read or see somewhere in here, one of the examples was, connect it to your Stripe account and then have it, give you a daily update on what your cost of acquisition is and all that kind of stuff. And you can, of course, where is it right here, connect it directly to your ClickFunnels account. So, do I have a clue on how to do 90% of this? Truth is, at this point, no. But that's why I keep Madison around, so she can tell me. She just figures it out and then she tells me how to do it. Well, after they, what am I thinking here? Hang on, somebody's trying to get a hold of me here. Just, what was I going to say? Oh, so after Funnel Hacking Live, I think it was in Florida, where you had Perry Belcher talking about the newsletters. You came back and you did a deep dive into that newsletter thing, and then I think you kind of walked away from it. Is it because the platforms are too difficult to work with, or you couldn't monetize it, or what happened there? I'm sorry, built with what? Built with overkill? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you showed it to me the other day. It looked pretty cool. Oh, hey, you can connect with Canva offers a drag and drop design. What would you use? Use what on the desktop? Oh, okay. All right. So one thing, I don't know if you guys saw that there was a pop-up blocked. And so I had to come up here and say to allow the pop-up, and now I don't know what it's going to do. It's spinning, but we'll see. So I'm sorry, Madison, you were saying, so I guess if we can generate images in here and then we can just push them over to Canva, that's not that exciting to me because it's not that difficult once I download it to pull it into Canva. You just pull it out of the downloads bin and drop it into something. So that's not a big one for me. But let's just go here to a task. Let's see what we can do here. What I want to do is write an email. Let's see, we got 6 more. Video. Huh. Is that like a video, like write a script for a video? Connect Gmail so we can check your inbox. Yeah, the thought of AI being in my inbox just does not excite me a whole lot. Oh, I see here. Look, it has a Canva thing here now. So it dropped it in here once I did the connection. Integrations, Canva workspace, it now says. Well, I wonder, so then did it all right, well, yeah, so one MCP. Oh, okay. Even if you have different workspaces in here. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just put something in here. I just want to see if it'll generate an image for me. Give me an image for the AI secrets challenge. Let's see what it does here. Now, according to what Todd said, is it should be using image 2 to do this. So, I mean, I didn't, obviously I didn't give it any kind of other requirement other than that. So I would guess we're going to see some sort of an image with those words on it. And I will tell you, I mean, the ability to use text has gotten so good that, especially now with image 2, it's perfect. I had a little trouble dealing with it the other day because I wanted a very particular shape to the letter J. And finally I said, okay, no, it needs to look more like a scimitar. And so what did it do? It put a scimitar in there instead of the letter J. And then I found an image of how it was supposed to look. And all I did is I just, did a little screen grab. I mean, look at that there. I did a little screen grab, dropped it in there, boom, then it immediately figured it out. And then the cool thing with ChatGPT the other day, and we can probably do it in here because we're connected to it, is it went through and it gave me it basically created an entire system that I could then use as essentially a style guide of how to do it for all of my images and also to build web pages for me. And so again, once you connect your ChatGPT here, are we going to have the same functionality? And I'm thinking, yes. So you can do it all here in one place. So anything you would be doing in Claude, you can do here. Anything you do for an image, you could do here. So, mix and match. But it's a good question here, John, is what does connecting it to ClickFunnels do? I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out. But how many? Yeah, there's basically, think of it as limited API connection. There are certain things you can do, certain things you can't. But maybe, this may be a way to connect more deeply to the API, which that would be pretty cool. I think there'd be some people interested in that. But good question here. And how many credits did it use? So now let's go and figure out, okay, we got credits here. I thought there was something in here I saw earlier was billing. Maybe it's hiding behind that now. Current balance. I hope that doesn't mean I just used up all my credits because it says 0. Yeah, I did see on one page there. Where was that? Where maybe it was right here. Yeah, when you do stuff on here, you can earn credits. It makes sense. They're trying to get us to use this, and so incentivize us. The more things we connect to it, the more credit they're going to give us. So that makes sense. But I used 50 just uploading docs for my voice. Okay, but how many docs did you upload to do that? How many? 6 documents? Was each one a page, or were they 50 pages? Word docs, 1 page each. So you uploaded 60 and it used, yeah, I mean, John, your mic is unmuted if you want to talk. Um, but I still, yeah. What computer doesn't have a mic these days? Come on. Let's try here for billing and see if it says it there. How long did it take for that to kick in to tell you how many credits you used? Oh, and one thing here, I clicked on manage subscription and it took me to my ClickFunnels 1.0 account. So I think somebody needs to work on that link. Let me see here what it do for me for buy more credits. Um, so we can add, it says here, add marketing secrets AI to the home screen, but home screen would only apply for a phone, wouldn't it? Mobile device. Where's it going to install it? Not on my desktop. Are you Oh, an application folder. Okay. Yeah, I don't need that. I have a link bookmarked already. Um, why is it saying I have 0 credits available? John, yeah, I mean, what do you guys show here? So I went to, well, there's a couple different ways you can get here, but come down here to the bottom and click on, let me see, I guess you just click on billing is where I was. Are you guys showing you have any credits or not? Yeah, it wasn't there. I guess I clicked, well, I got there before some way. Yeah, that's always the fun with new software is bouncing around trying to find things. Okay, yeah, I guess I went to credits here. What does? I'm sorry, what works good? Oh, you're saying this? Oh, okay. But what do you have here for a balance? 0? Maybe because we're in a trial, but just leave it at 0 and you can use whatever you want. But then, well, that one makes sense then because John says he started at 800. Sheila's saying she thinks you get 400 credits. I thought Todd said earlier we got, well, basically he said during the trial, the 2-week trial, they obviously eat the credits because we didn't pay him anything for them. So, um, yeah, I don't know why it says, well, why John's would say 800 and ours say nothing. So whatever. That's under brain. No, that's 800 left to earn. Right. So by setting stuff up, I can earn another 800 credits. But they're not charging us for the credits, and we're not getting deducted any credits during the trial period. Which is because I have 0 and I just created that image. Yeah. Yeah, because I set something up apparently. I think just by turning it on. But now the question that I have is, okay, so I created that task with the image. Where did it go to? How do I get back to that? So,
Is it under projects, new project? Mr.
well,
Doug?
yeah, let's go add a folder. So yeah, I was looking at this earlier going, okay, if I click on either of these, there's nothing in here. So how do I get back to that image? Um, so either way, there's they basically need a whole bunch of us to get in here and break this thing so they can spend the next couple weeks fixing what we break and then start building more stuff into it. And I know a lot of people get mad when they get software and it doesn't work perfectly. Well, guess what? It's not going to. Until you load test this stuff, you don't know what it's going to do. And it's also, as the software developers are building this stuff out, they know exactly where to look. We're sitting here going, I don't know where to find that thing. Well, that's why we got to let the devs know that their wayfinding in here, their UI, their UX, is not good, and let them know where we're having issues, and then they can go in and fix that stuff. And with the AI, I've heard other examples of things where with ClickFunnels itself, they are able to fix stuff, again, 10 times faster than they were in the past. This right here, bold high energy. Oh, so it does say, yeah, yeah. But you're right. I mean, that is what I asked for. But then if we come down here, yeah, there's nothing down here either. So that is definitely one of the questions is, okay, how essentially, how do I work with this thing? But that could be answered here in these sprints. So that's that. I think yeah, we've been going for an hour here already, just kind of yammering on. But yeah, so yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, now we can sit down here and play around with this thing for a while, and all get back together here 24 hours from now ish, 23 hours from now, and talk about what we find. And the big thing though is when you do find an issue, make note of it, and maybe we'll compile a list and get that to the devs so they can see what's going on as well. Even though there's going to be I suspect there's going to be a lot of support tickets sent in saying, "Hey, where's this? Where's that? Where's this?" So that's normal. They're anticipating it. So let's see here. Thanks a lot. You're welcome, Mark. And so the voice is so the AI can write something so it sounds like I wrote. Yeah, that's exactly what this is about. Any time in the past. So like for the emails I sent out for this challenge, I took a bunch of my own emails. I took Russell's emails, and I forget like 4 or 5 other things. And this was in a Claude project, is where I did this. I just loaded all those things in. They give you swipe files whenever you're doing a promotion like this. Swipe files, and then I would go in there and I talked to it for a while, telling it exactly what I wanted, and I gave it other examples of my writing, audio examples, video examples, other things, so that it knew my voice. And so that when it then spit out the emails for me, I read through them and I had to make a few changes. And, there was one case where it was talking about something. I just like, nah, I'm not going to talk about that. But for the most part, 90% of your work is done writing those emails. And the more you feed it, I mean, Russell was saying today that he wrote like, I don't know, 70 emails or something, I think he said. And yeah, they all came out perfect. Now, did they all come out perfect? Who knows? But he also fed it a lot more information than what I fed to make my 10 emails. He did 70 going off of his brain, which has, thousands of examples of emails and hundreds of podcasts and everything else. So the more you feed it, the more you teach it, the more you train it, the better the output is going to become. And so the people who are going to do best with this are the ones who have been prolific over the years with all their information. Whereas, yeah, there's going to be some people who have to start from zero and they have to get used to very quickly creating content. And because that's what has to feed the beast. And there's really no other ways to do it. What if I want to sound smarter? uh yeah, I mean, you can get anything you want out of this AI. You just have to beat on it for a while sometimes. And I always like to say it's hard to beat the AI out of the AI because it wants to speak at a level way up here when you really need it to speak at a 4th to 6th grade reading level. It wants to randomly generate whatever the hell it wants, as sometimes you need to give a very strict instructions of this is how I need you to act. This is what I need you to do. I'm building a project right now where you put in a video transcript and it has, I think there's 15 different outputs that we have in there. And so I have to tell it, okay, here's output number 1. This is how you deal with it. If this information is not put in, this is the response you have to, and on and on and on. And so you have to really get meticulous with it and tell it exactly what you need it to do. Now, when you're writing an email, generally speaking, you don't need to do that. You feed it a bunch of information and then you say, okay, I need you to write me an email about this, and give it as much context as you can, as much story as you possibly can. And it will know just by you speaking at that point, it will be able to, generally speaking, write you a very nice email. And on that note, Madison, I think we should say goodbye. Okay. All right. See you.